Hey, welcome back on the rug with Salty, or welcome to the rug if you've never been before. Today we're going to have a look at the Boss Katana. Everything's all a bit black in here. There's a reason for that. Today is, at the time of filming, of course, is the 40th anniversary of a fairly iconic Australian rock and roll release. AC/DC's Back in Black is 40 years old today. Fan of the band or not, I can't say that I am. The album certainly deserves a nod as an Australian classic. Certainly put our rock and roll on the map. I'm going to throw my guild at the S100 at the Katana today. I have used the Boss Katana before. These are a digital modelling amp. They've certainly caused quite a stir and have a legion of fans since they were released a few years ago. This is the first version of that particular model. This is the 100 1x12. I've got it set on the 50 watt setting so that we keep law enforcement at bay. They come in a 2x12. They come in a head. Really, the major difference between this version and the current version of the amplifier is with the current version, you get the ToneWorks Studio software. You can connect via USB, maybe even Bluetooth. I'd have to look that up. Don't quote me on that. And you can build your own signal chain and pedals, and you can tweak the existing stuff that's there. We're restricted to using what's built in, and restricted is probably the wrong word to use. There's a lot built in. It does a lot. And there are some things that it does and the way that it does them that I found quite challenging. And I'll go through those when we pull the camera down in a minute, and we'll have a look at the interface and make some noise. There's our dry sound somewhere. So we are restricted to a single pickup and a single tone, which is probably a good thing because it'll stop me from playing with the guitar. We're here to talk about the amplifier. So back in a sec, we'll rejig the room, get the camera down on top and have some fun. All right, we've got the camera down on the control panel for the Boss Katana 100. Might be easiest to work left to right on this one, although I'm going to end up bouncing around quite a lot. So over here, if you've got your main amplifier controls, and it includes a sort of five selections of amplifier type. So they're inbuilt presets. As I said before, there's your acoustic channel there. I won't touch that. We'll just deal with these 4 amp types. We've got clean, crunch, lead, and brown. You can draw your own conclusions. I've got the gain set fairly high and the volume set fairly high, and here goes our first jump over here in the master. We're only around 10 o'clock, so that's quite a handy feature that sort of what you would typically see as a gain in a master setting. We've got 2 volumes, so that's pretty handy. Standard fare and your equalizer, bass, treble, mid, and over here things get really, really funky, and we'll deal with that a little bit later. But let's have a run through these amps. We'll wind ourselves up to what you would anticipate to be a usable blend, and wind the volume on the guitar. So that's when our clean, if we wind our gain down a little bit, she probably cleans up a bit more. So I suppose a good place to start is we just flick through these amps and see what they're like before we add anything else. Let's get to our crunch. It's on the lead pickup of the Guild S100. Let's go to the lead amp setting. You're probably thinking something like a Marshall. And for all extensive purposes, it handles and feels exactly like a tube amplifier would. And in our brown setting, probably something a little bit boutiquey here, possibly Messick territory. She cleans up quite nicely when you roll that volume back a bit. Very nice indeed. We'll whip back to clean. As you can see, we'll just wind the bass all the way up and see if that gives us much. Back it off. So that's pretty standard fare. Okay, this is where things get interesting. And I've actually got the user's manual up in front of me so that I don't lie to you inadvertently, because I don't know. So I found this quite challenging, what they've done here. So this knob does two things, booster and mod. So that'd be your modulation. This one does two things, delay and effects, which is a variety of other effects that don't fall under the modulation. Thankfully, your reverb is just your reverb. So we dial a bit of reverb in. So how do these do their weird stuff? So your booster mod, okay. Throw him on. We're on the panel, which means we're using the panel, not the presets. This is a blues drive setting. Back the guitar off. Back in. And then you hit this button again, and it takes us to a clean boost. And again, an overdrive. Now, once the knob goes past 12 o'clock, it does something different. Do you know how difficult it was for me to get my head around that? Well, if you're under 30, you probably don't, but I found it quite challenging. So at this point, we're into chorus land. Flanger. And of course you can increase the speed and intensity of these effects by working further down towards that 5 o'clock position. I think the next one, we're up here, another kind of flanger, which is probably a little bit closer to a rotary cab. That's pretty cool. So back on our chorus. Okay, the next knob has the same personality. It does one thing to 12 o'clock and another thing after that. Now you can, it's probably dawned on you, well, how do I get boost and mod in at the same time? That's when you build your presets over here. And I'm not going to touch on that today because that's an hour's worth of work. But yes, you can do this, bang it in, do this, bang it in, and build your own preset over here. Channels 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also factory default the thing if it shows up with some presets already in it. And look, this is a second-hand unit. You'd have no idea it was a second-hand unit. It is in immaculate condition. So let's have a look. Let's hop in and grab some delay. You do have tap tempo. So that's our digital delay. Wind a bit more of it in. I don't mind a bit of delay. Next bank. Green is our this is our digital delay. More delays. Tape. Hop over to our effects side of this post, and green is, so we've got some tremolo. The depth and intensity goes up. Slide. Yeah. That's pretty wild. And I think the next one is Touch Wow for the Funk Addicts. Course, you've got your reverb. Now, you know, we've probably just taken 5 minutes and we've run through a third of its ability on one amplifier. You can replicate that across the other 3 or 4 if you're using an acoustic. There's a presence control. I haven't really played with that. Volume, of course. This is pretty handy over here. You've got a 0.5 watt setting, which is going to turn it down to not much at all. That's a 0.5 at full volume. Then, of course, you get your sort of practice room usable 50. And we won't touch the 100. All right, let's do it. Not a huge difference. There is also a standby here. Look, to my mind, that's... You're not keeping tubes warm. You're not keeping vacuum tubes warm. It's a little bit of trickery and cosmetics, but hey, it's there. Nothing wrong with it. Like I said, this thing can do so much more. We've still got those other 4 amps to play with. Haven't touched on tone settings. It looks sharp. It's portable. It's well built. Heaps of options on the back. There's an effects loop there if you want to throw your own stomp boxes at it. There's a direct line out. There's a USB connection. There's an extension cabinet. There's an auxiliary in. It's just a powerhouse of possibilities, really. Young guitarists working, you know, if you're doing your beer garden sessions and you need, you know, you're not going to buy the Line 6 equivalent that sits on the floor that we won't mention. It's ideal piece of equipment. I'm quite impressed with it. Like I said, I found this... these split posts, I found them a bit of a challenge to start with, but once you get your head around how it works, owner's manual by your side, it's pretty good. And I will say one thing against Boss, or one criticism, the owner's manual, the PDF that you download, doesn't tell you much more than what I just told you. So all of this trickery around building your own effects and things like that, that's not included in the PDF. The PDF's about, you know, it's 5 pages of OH&S, insurance denial, cover your bum stuff, and about 3 pages of actual settings and their use. But hey, thanks for watching. We'll get to fixing the Guild ASAP. Wonderful guitar, well worth a look at as a go-to unit. And look, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. Please stay safe, stay home if you need to. Salty out.